Alright, so I'm trying to troubleshoot this SE30 board. It's not sending out an image. I've swapped an SE board in here, and the chassis works fine, so there's definitely a problem with this board. And this board has had some rework done, but I'm trying to figure out exactly what the problem is. And let me tell you, it is really difficult to troubleshoot this board while it's sitting here sideways. I can't get to these front sides of these pins, so I'm trying to guess where they are. Here's the connector, here's pin 9, this one. So that is what's supposed to be outputting video, but I'm getting this garbage signal on it. So somewhere over here, there's a chip that sends, this is directly connected to that pin, and that's where the video is coming from. But it's really hard to see. And then we need to figure out where that pin's coming from, or the output, or the input to this chip. And man, I tell you, it's really hard to troubleshoot. But I think I have an idea. Alright, so here is the digital to analog board connector for an SE or an SE30. It's got 14 wires, and it is designed to go in the machine, and not really for running the board outside of the machine. And that can be problematic when you're trying to troubleshoot one of those classic Mac boards. So I think what we can do is take these tie wraps off. We can just use some wire to extend all of these. So I've got these different spools here with different color wires. Obviously we don't have all the same colors here, and these black and purple ones are twisted, probably for some electronic reason, so the electrons don't escape. I don't know. I don't think it's going to matter too much, since we're not going to be running boards long term out of here, and if there's some minor interference, I doubt it's going to cause us any headaches. I want to extend this maybe by 2 feet. I think that would be a good length. So I think the first thing I want to do is measure out some 2-foot length sections of wire here, in approximately 2 feet. I'm not going to say it has to be exactly precise, although I do have a ruler here I guess I could do. So this is solid core copper wire. It should be conductive enough. I might have wanted just a little bit of a thicker gauge. I don't know if this is going to be quite thick enough for the amount of current going through these wires. I think it should be okay, but if not, if they start getting warm, then we'll just turn it off and start over. But I don't think there's that much voltage going through these wires, even though some of the CRT controls do come from the digital board, but I don't think they're any of the high voltage ones. So I'm just gonna prepare a bunch of wires here. All right, so now the fun part. I'll go ahead and start cutting these. I would suspect that these 3 here are probably all common ground, but I could plug it into the board and test it out with a multimeter, I suppose. Let's see if that is the case. So we're in continuity mode. And those 2 are common. That one's common with them. That one's common with them. That one's common with them. And one more black one. Nice. So all the black wires are common, so we could, in theory, just run 1 black wire and not have to worry about it. Well, there's the orange ones. Let's see if the orange ones are common too, because I think that's the only other color that repeats. It's orange. Yeah, and they're common as well. Okay. So we can just go ahead and cut this wire right in half and not have to worry about crossing any of the wires. So I'm going to do it right in the middle. That way it gives me plenty of room to make mistakes if I need to fix something. If I did it right at the end and I screwed something up, then I wouldn't have any slack left to fix it later. Cut through all these here. All right. So we've got our 2 ends. Start with this side here. So now I need to prepare all of these wires. So I'll untwist these twisted ones. And again, I don't think the twists are going to be super critical to the performance of this cable. Probably just even Lengthen it puts it out of whatever spec Apple had for it, so not even a big deal. All right, let's see if my wire stripper will work with these ones. Probably not. Well, it does actually work. Okay. There we go. Now, like I mentioned, there's commonality between all the black ones. I think I will just do them together. I don't think it's going to cause any problems. So I'll just get these guys together here, and we can tin that up. So I'll use my jig to hold it. Find some solder here. We'll use this old Radio Shack 6040. This might be a little hard to tin because it's a lot of wire and a lot of space for that heat to dissipate out down the wires. So let's see what we can do here to actually tin it up. So it's working pretty well, I think. Alright, then I'm going to take my 6 black wires here. I'm just going to run them all together because I have them, I've already cut them, and this will ensure that all of that amperage isn't going to cause any issues. These wires are a little smaller, so they're a little bit easier to tin. Alright, now before I connect these, I'm going to put a piece of heat shrink tubing on here, and then we will meld these together. There we go, looks pretty good. Alright, so that is the black wires connected. Shrink that heat shrink tubing. Alright, looks good. That is black done on this end. I see I missed green here. Speaking of green, let's go ahead and do that one next. Alright, so it doesn't matter if these wires get twisted as far as I can tell, but I do want to make sure that they are all not twisted around each other in a way that doesn't let me get the distance out of them. So, I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to grab a tie wrap. Now we can work on this end. So we'll get all of the wires untwisted. Alright, so that's all of them on this end. Let me pre-cut some heat shrink tubing. Alright, so we'll start with the black again. Tin this one. Again, it really doesn't want to take that heat. There's so much area for that heat to go out. It doesn't want to go in to the wire, but we got it there. It's nice and tinned. Let me tin these 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, we'll get some heat shrink tubing. We'll tin this side up first before we join them together. Alright. It's like a nice solid connection. Alright. Next, let's do the oranges. So we're kind of going in order to keep these wires in some sort of an order. So we'll do white next. So that should be it. Alright, so now we'll do some more tie wraps just to keep things nice and orderly. Ideally keep all this heat shrink tubing in place. Maybe one in the middle somewhere. Oh, I got a bunch of tie wraps. Let's do a couple. Actually, I think that'll be fine. Alright, so here we have our super long Mac SE SE30 cable. So here I have a Mac SE30. And I have the existing cable connected. Let's go ahead and take that off. There we go. Alright, so here's the factory one. Let's plug our fun one in here. Alright. So now we can take our Macintosh SE board. This is an SE30 case, so this is an SE board. I can plug it in. We can plug in power. With that all connected, let's go ahead and give this machine some power. And there we go. We got the gray screen. Oh, there we go. It was just counting the RAM. All right. So now we should be able to test the system outside of the machine. So we got it running. And we got the board here. And look at all this room I have. I could have this board way over here and it's still running. That's really cool. So this is the SE board, but the SE30 board is the one I've been working on. Well, let's just do a quick test here and see what we're getting on some of these pins. So we were testing out pin 9 on on here, I think. Should be the video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It should be this one, right? The video signal. So on the SE30 board, this is what we're not getting. And this was coming from pin 9 of one of these chips. But all right, so we're set up. Let's put the SE30 board back in and see if we can't do a little bit of troubleshooting. And just so you can see, the SE30 board is just doing this, just sending nothing. All right, so I'm going to keep that down so I don't get any burn-in on my monitor. Got ground connected, and if I put it on this white pin, which is where we saw that nice sine wave, on the SE board you can see here we're getting garbage. So that is definitely a problem. We followed this pin back to over here somewhere, because I had replaced UG or U16, no, UG6 with the chip from another board, and I think we were seeing that on pin 9 maybe. And I think this pin maybe is the one that was giving us garbage. No, it's just pretty. No, yeah, it does kind of look like the same garbage we saw on pin 9 over here. So there's the pin 9 garbage, and that's coming off of pin 10, I believe, of this chip, UG6. So the next thing we wanted to do was test the inputs for this chip. So I could go look up the chip specifications and see what the inputs are supposed to be. So I'm guessing that there's another chip on here feeding an input to this chip that is bad. Unless I had 2 of these chips fail, because I replaced it with one in unknown condition but presumed working. But that is for a different video. So yeah, I think that's going to wrap things up. We've got our nice new cable. Everything looks good, it's very solid, not getting any picture loss, and everything's working great. So if you've got a Macintosh SE or a Macintosh SE30, you're looking to troubleshoot it, I would strongly recommend making one of these cables. It makes it so much easier to get in there with your probe to figure out what signals are where. Trying to have a board on its side and poke around at it and have the danger of a running CRT right by your hand, certainly not worth the trouble. So this didn't take me too long to do. I think maybe an hour from start to finish, and certainly we'll be getting that time back in dividends. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.
Hi guys, make sure to like and subscribe and watch more of our videos later. Bye!